Hey everyone, it is another episode of Chats with Chels today. Now I'm here with my friend Jon King.
Hello.
So Jon has started a couple of awesome businesses. He's not just, a one-man show. He has DroneNL and Fytics. So we're going to be talking about both of those today. So the first business, was it DroneNL or did you start a business before that?
No, we started with DroneNL, yeah. And that one kind of came about, honestly, from volunteer work and then found a skill and decided to move it into a business. I was doing work with Sife at the time, now Enactus, doing volunteer work, a whole bunch of different cool projects. And every year we did presentation, marketing materials, all sorts of stuff about the work that we did that year. Probably was 2011, I think, at an Enactus World Cup competition. We saw a guy flying a drone around the competition, doing a lot of cool stuff, and we knew right away that we had to get one of those and get into the flying drones and getting really cool footage that way. So we got one, started working on it. We got certified, and luckily for us, it was very early when drones were just getting started. So certification, that kind of process was really, really, really lax at the time. And then we got grandfathered in. We had certifications, we had drones, we had ability, we knew what we were doing. So rolled that out and started making money doing it. That's
funny because that's like exactly what I was thinking. Is like in 2011, you weren't hearing a lot about the average drone user. Like it was only like a couple years ago that I'd say that kind of became a bit of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. If you look back far enough, there's a CBC article on me losing a rogue drone over the Memorial campus. So hopefully no one from Transport Canada is watching this. We'll see.
I'm going to go look that article up.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I really love is you guys are always sharing like cool photos and stuff on the DroneNL account. And you guys have grown like a huge following. So maybe you guys could let us in on a little bit of your insight for the folks at home on growing their presences and accounts up.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we really tried to do was get as many iconic locations, and the beautiful landscape of this province definitely helps out for us. And the amount of Newfoundlanders who are away from home also really helps to get really good traction on that nostalgia of home and the real important points of what makes this province so great and so special. And all of that is just maximized once you start looking at what's in the air and the views you can get. And that's kind of the approach that we took to try and get as many of those as consistently as possible. And when we were starting out and we had a smaller client base, it was a lot more heavily involved in our roadmap to make sure that we did one of those videos every single week, something interesting, something people wanted to see. Not too long, just enough to give you a taste. We didn't want to put 8 minutes of just drone flying all over, cut. Quick shots, something worth seeing, something worth sharing. That's what we were going for.
And I think that's a huge thing too. Like I've noticed as well, Newfoundlanders especially are just so proud of their like heritage and so proud of the culture and the views that you get here. Like basically, like, if you post like anything, especially on Instagram with like #ExploreNL, it's just like up like that, and I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, people love experiencing home, and that's a good reason for social media right now. I think so. It's helping people out, is allowing them to see and have that.
So then, after starting DroneNL, you moved into another company recently. When did you start Fytics?
So we actually did our first year anniversary 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a good year, I guess.
So, do you want to explain to us like a little bit more like what Fytics actually is? He has a really cool Fytics jacket on today. He's repping.
So what it is, Fytics, it's an inventory management and deep waste analysis solution for quick service restaurants, fast food restaurants. So what we did to figure out why Fytics, why now, why here, I had a variety of experience in inventory from a bunch of different industries, platforms, companies, and warehousing, oil and gas, and then ended up in food and doing inventory, and quickly realized that it was just a pen and paper and a cold-ass inventory room counting boxes, and it was brutal. So realized that there was a lot of better solutions out there, and how we could Frankenstein a bunch of things together to make something that really worked and really was powerful for both the employees on the level of counting those boxes and being cold and being pissed off, to the owners and managers to allow them to actually see what is in their store, how that's being used, and how they can get that number of usage down. And that's where we started, and we just rolled from there.
That's so funny. I think of that too. I worked like one summer, and my whole job was putting files away. And you just like look at things and like think of how can I do this more efficiently?
Why is this so terrible?
Or why is this so terrible?
So when I was not working for myself. Sometimes when I'm working for myself, it's still, why is this so terrible? But most of the time when I wasn't, I was always thinking, why does this suck so bad? How can it be better? Yeah.
So what have you thought, so I guess over like the last year or two of working for yourself, what do you think are some of the differences and benefits of working for yourself as opposed to, working for someone else?
Sure, yeah. Benefits and downfalls, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Benefits is it's always fun, and it's been interesting now as 1 year on my own. It's been ebbs and flows, and honestly, every second week there's a different, this is good, this is bad. But this time last year I was sitting by myself here at Common Ground wondering what I was going to do next, how I was going to find the people with me to make this happen, how we were going to make it work. But I had complete freedom, which was really great. As things evolved, we now have a team of 17, so we're pretty big. So we've got a lot of people with us to make it happen, which is absolutely amazing. And it's a great team, and we're all really close. So that's really, really great compared to other places that I've been. On the downfall side, that's then 17 people that I want to make sure are getting the job done right, and they always do. I want to make sure they're comfortable in the environment. I want to make sure they're happy and willing to work and keep things moving. So it's got its pros and cons, but it's been a whole lot of fun.
So with like a team like that, so John and I were just talking before the podcast started, and he's like, I'm going bowling for team building this afternoon. So that sounds like, something that would definitely keep your team happy. I mean, I personally love bowling. So what are some ways that you, besides bowling, keep like your team motivated and happy? Just, you're like a little bit younger, so sometimes, like I know my experience, I'm not sure about yours, they don't take young people, I guess, as seriously always, so. Yeah,
well, younger we definitely got it. And the ways to keep people happy, that's one that we're always working on. So we have first thing, we have a snack shelf at the office, so we have free snacks, so we keep that. Everyone's fed, everyone's happy usually. We just bought a breakfast sandwich maker, so there's breakfast sandwiches available on tap anytime, which is great. And then we're just polling, trying to figure out what interests people, where they're interested to be, what they're into, and then if there's stuff that we can do together. We're beyond being young, honestly, as our only tied in same factor throughout the team.
Yeah.
With people from all walks of life, different religions, different ethnicities, all sorts of stuff. We have two guys who are very experienced in cricket. Nobody else knows anything about cricket right now, so we're thinking about starting an intra-office cricket league. Bowling hits the nail on the head. Everyone can bowl, so there's lots of good activities, and we have one Slack channel consistently dedicated to people just suggesting stuff we can do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna just sneak into your office, like, oh hi.
Yeah, just pop on by.
Yeah, I'm just gonna steal a Fytics hat. I totally work here.
You can get away with it probably.
I belong here. So I guess you kind of started your business out of identifying a problem. So if there's someone who's like, just getting started out and they want to start a business themselves, what are some of the best advice that you've kind of come up with over the year? Yeah,
so I guess the first and best advice really started past a year ago when I was doing the Genesis Evolution program. And at the start of that program, at that time, they were saying talk to 100 potential customers. And I think that is wicked advice, that you need to talk to as many people as you possibly can, see how much work it's going to take to get them to try something that you can do, and then move from there. The other aspects that are really important when starting out is to be very realistic about how much effort it's going to take for a potential client to change and really, really trust what you're doing and bring what you're doing into their business, if it's a B2B model. Yeah. And beyond that, just prepare to work a lot.
I know, I noticed that too. Like, I guess it makes such a huge difference because you don't realize, like, when you're saying, like, I'm going to go out and start this business or this company. When I first started, I started as like kind of like a side hustle. I'm just going to do this on the side. But then more and more people were like, oh, I want this service. And now I probably work more than I ever did when I was like working a regular job, but I guess you have like the flexibility, right?
Yeah. Well, the flexibility to leave if you want, but even if you go, I know there's still a truck ton of stuff you got to do. So it's
I know totally what you mean. So over the past few episodes, what we started doing is this thing called the Jar of Awesome. So some people have submitted questions. Some of them are my questions. So they're like nothing, too philosophical. So we're going to shake it up, and usually you pick out 3 questions, so one at a time. Some of them are from our social media fans. Some of them are, like I said, from me.
Okay.
So
this is not going so hot for me.
I think I need a bigger jar.
There we go.
I got a few more questions.
What is my favorite word? Shirley.
Shirley?
It goes anywhere. Surely that's good. Surely not.
Okay, I thought you said Shirley as
Like
in
the
like
name?
a nan, like, you know, like my nan Shirley,
And it
or
can
like
be
your
confused
mom.
for your nan too.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
I was like,
yeah.
wow, like that's so nice. He's like, you know, saying like one of his family members, but
No, Shirley, I wouldn't say Shirley.
Okay. Number 2.
Okay. Do you pick one too? Do you do these questions?
Not usually. I guess I probably could do one with you today.
Okay. What does your morning routine look like? Are you answering this one? You can answer this one first, then I'll answer.
Okay.
Flipping it on its head.
So, I am a morning person. I never was a morning person. And I think like part of the reason that I became a morning person, we used to have a free parking space at Common Ground where the meter was broken, and I had to beat John to it in the morning because sometimes he'd get here before me. So, you know, I had to race him. But I usually like get up and I try to think something like positive and good for the day. So I'm like, today's gonna be a great day. Which kind of sounds corny now that I say it out loud. And I always try to like make my bed and tidy up my room before I leave home, just because I feel like if I have an organized space, then my life feels a little more organized. So then I will leave home, go to school, go to work, whatever's going on the menu that day, and then I usually have an energy drink. So that's probably do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, back to when we, at the office, we used to have free Red Bull too, and it was sweet, but we lost that. But anyway, morning. Well, we're doing sales in Dubai, Saudi, and Kuwait right now, so those hours don't work out well. Those sales calls are always right at the crack of dawn, so up doing those oftentimes. Beyond that, I do not get up and make my bed and do a whole bunch of right things. I get up and leave immediately and then check our Slack group to see if anyone's going to be late for work, because if we have a rule, if anyone's late for work, we have a ridiculous shirt and they have to wear it for the day. So I try and avoid having to wear that shirt if I can.
That is so funny. Yeah, I totally get it. I was like traveling this year and I was in Thailand and like Southeast Asia, and I was like doing work with some people at home, and they're like, oh, like, could you like come in on this call? And I was like, yep, I'm just 26 hours ahead.
Right.
They're on like 16 hours. So it does make a huge difference, right?
It's brutal. It's brutal, the time difference, but what can you do?
I find like another thing I really like, I don't know if like you do this in the morning, but I always like have like a really good jam going, like when I'm getting ready, just because I feel like it pumps me up for the day. So.
Oh yeah, I recently got AirPods.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommended.
My dad got me like Bose, the over-the-ear like wireless headphones, and it's a whole new world for me because I can just like walk around with them and
Ignore
it's
people.
amazing. Ignore people, right? Yeah,
that's good.
Have them on right now. I've been like jamming out to Slow Hands recently in the mornings. It's a great one to start. So I guess you can pick your.
We do a lot of wedding videography for
I
DroneNL.
saw that.
Big into slow hands at the weddings, big time. As someone who makes your own schedule, how do you keep yourself focused? Okay, good question. So how do we keep everyone in our office focused? If you come in to see our spaces at the Genesis Center where we are, literally every inch of our walls are covered in whiteboards. So it's write your tasks, do them as it is on the whiteboard, and then hope I don't come by with a marker to write more on the boards.
That is a good way. I started doing that too, but you know, not on a whiteboard because I'm like remotely, so I can't really carry a whiteboard around with me. People,
yeah,
people might think that's a little awkward.
We actually had whiteboard when it was the three of us here at Common Ground for the start. They're probably still in our locker back there. We had 3 individual whiteboards. We used to hand them out to each other in the morning. And you had to write down on your individual whiteboard, so you could carry it around. You could do it.
I mean, I kind of started like a bullet journal thing because I needed to stay organized, and there's just like no agenda that can handle you if you're like a student and have like a life and have a business. Like there's just nothing that like holds it all. So I keep like a to-do list on the side, and then I move things over to like the day. So I make like a weekly kind of everything that needs to get done this week, and then I move it over to the day as it goes, or scratch things out when I decide that I don't want to do them anymore.
It's a good plan. I like it.
So thank you so much, John, for joining us today. And this is going to be up on YouTube and the iTunes store later this afternoon. And have a good day and a good weekend, everyone. See you soon.
See ya.